What is good, defenders, and welcome to your favorite pre-match segment here from the most LAFC podcast on the planet. This is Defenders of the Bank, and it is Derby Week. That's right. For the 25th time, LAFC will take on our friends from 13 miles down the road in Carson. You know my voice. It's the Scarf, J.R. Liebert, and do not adjust your sets, everybody. The duo is back. Batman and Superman in the same room together once again. I give you one Christian Philly Philemon.
Hello, Los Angeles. Hello, Scarf. If there's one thing that I know in my time living here for almost 10 years is that New Yorkers and Angelinos have one thing in common, a dislike for Boston, in particular the Celtics. But with the Celtics being dispatched the other day by my New York Knickerbockers, I wanted to reference a song from a band from that area, in particular Dropkick Murphys. And that one is, "The boys are back, the boys are back, the boys are back, and we're looking for trouble." And trouble is exactly what the Galaxy are going to get as LAFC infiltrates Dignity Health Sports Park tomorrow. It's going to be epic. 25th game in this history, and it'll be an interesting one, that's for sure.
I thought we were just going to pluralize the Denise Williams song, "Let's Hear It for the Boy," because we're back. That's right. It's you and I. Very excited to be back here. And look, it's not for nothing that this is the 25th edition of El Trafico, of the Battle for Los Angeles, of the Derby. It's going to be a good one. Look, I'll say the thing that nobody wants to say out loud because I don't care. Wouldn't it be the worst thing ever, if we help them to their first win of the season? Look, I know they're probably not going to make the playoffs. They're not as far out of the playoff picture as you would think a team that doesn't win anything in their first 13 matches would be. But God, come on, LAFC. You've done some real backward stuff before over our first 8 years. We got to find a way to make it 14 straight winless matches to start the season for Carson.
Dude, I feel like I've had this conversation multiple times already. So on Soccer in 60, we had on Bradley Wright Phillips, and that is exactly what he said. Wouldn't it be the most football thing ever if this happened? To me, this is their MLS Cup in a lot of ways. And funny enough, defenders, the last time they actually got a win was against the Red Bull in the MLS Cup final, which is wild when you think about it. But this is their MLS Cup, not because they're playing us. But this, to me, is a depiction of where their season is going to go. If, God forbid, what Scarf kind of insinuated occurs, then maybe there's a turnaround on the horizon. If we go in there and shellac them, then it's totally done. You're going to witness a murder. That's the way I see it. There's no two ways about it. If we destroy them tomorrow, there's no coming back from that. If you're that team, regardless of who is going to be healthy, I'm still not putting a bunch of stock in Ricky Pucci's return, turning the team around. Right now, can you believe it? Like, they're really the worst team, Scarf. I mean, even the freaking Club de Foot Montreal Impact, formerly known as, they even got a win against NYCFC a couple weeks ago. So the Galaxy literally are not only the worst team in Major League Soccer, but they continue to set records and dig themselves into a hole as being the worst defending champions in the short history of this league. But yes, tomorrow we cannot screw the pooch on this contest.
You know who's not worried about tomorrow, Philly? Greg Vanney's not worried about tomorrow because of the announcement that absolutely blew our mind. And then, by the way, I did a little digging, and I'm 99% sure this is true, so I'm going to say it out loud. And if I'm wrong, somebody can correct me later on down the line. Apparently, by winning MLS Cup, Greg Vanney's extension was automatic, and yet Galaxy chose to wait to announce it until yesterday. I'm absolutely shocked that they waited. Why not? Hey, he wins MLS Cup, he gets an extension. Nobody would have batted an eyelash. Now they do it, and you see everybody, not LAFC supporters, not just Galaxy supporters, but football supporters from around the world going, this is why you can't take MLS seriously. He has not won a match in 13. I mean, look, I don't care, right? If Manchester United or if Barcelona or if Bayern Munich start out a season theoretically 0 for 13 without winning a match, it doesn't matter what they did the season before. I mean, Philly, you're far more versed in Bundesliga. You're far more versed in the European game than I am, but I would be shocked if anybody from the big 5 European leagues would keep their job after going 0 for the first 13 matches in the season.
Well, first and foremost, that's one of many reasons why most people around the world don't take MLS seriously. I got a couple other ones for you. TAM, GAM, discovery rights. Those also are bigger reasons as to why nobody takes MLS seriously. But yes, this is wild. I don't understand in what parallel universe that this would even work. You can say that he was successful last season, but the likes of Jose Mourinho, successful historically, when he sucked, he got the boot. We've been Bob out, Dolo out, Bob in, Dolo in, like throughout the history of this podcast. And while for the most part, we have stayed on the sides of the respective coaches in their position, if we, after 2022, would have started the season the same exact way, I would have been on the whoever was at the helm out train. I might have even been the damn conductor. It's crazy to me that this man still has a job. After getting annihilated by a touchdown to the New Jersey Energy Drinks, he survived. After absolutely pooping the bed in Philadelphia or Westchester, he's still alive. And I thought to myself that if we obliterate them tomorrow, he would be sacked on Monday. But at this point, we're going to have to deal with Greg Vanney for a little bit of time. You want to trust the process? Okay, let's trust the process. This is Looney Tunes. To me, absolute Looney Tunes. Yes, he's won a couple MLS Cups with a couple different clubs, but this is wild. Absolutely wild.
Yeah, you mentioned it too. Obviously, everybody knows going into this match that Ricky Pooch out for, and now what I've been reading on the interwebs from some very reputable sources, maybe until November. Maybe it's a playoff push to get Ricky Pooch back in the lineup.
Playoff push.
We're going to see a couple of returns tomorrow in Gabriel Peck and Joseph Paintsel. They've been on the shelf with injury problems for most of the season. Obviously, losing Dejan Joveljic, Gaston Brugman, Jalen Neal, Daniel Aguirre, and, oh, by the way, Marky Mark Delgado, losing all of those guys. But you know what? It happens. It happens to MLS Cup winning teams. They have to figure out a way to rebuild and put it all back together again the next year. We had the same bit of growing pains in 2023 without, by the way, not winning any of our first 13 games. We managed to put a lineup out there and to win some games. The fact that Greg Vanney, I don't care how great of a coach he is, the fact that he has been able to field lineups over the course of 13 different matches and not produce one win. They lost to a Sporting Kansas City team that did not shoot the ball. I am not exaggerating when I tell you that Sporting Kansas City over a 90-minute soccer match, by the way, that's when you fire a coach too, by the way. If over 90 minutes, your entire team does not shoot the ball once, not once, and yet Sporting Kansas City, because of an own goal, won the match. We're talking about since 96, they've never lost anything more than 5 goals to the bad. They lost 7-0. And oh, by the way, like you mentioned, to the team that played them in MLS Cup final, that they won the whole thing against last year. And then obviously you talked about Ty Baribo in that 6 minute of stoppage time. They lose again. I mean, look, they've allowed 6 more goals than anybody else through 13 matches. Their goal differential is 9 worse than anybody else through 13 matches. All I'm trying to find, Philly, going into this match is a way where I shouldn't be as confident as I am that LAFC will go down to Carson and absolutely put it to them.
I think the last time prior to that result against Sporting Kansas City where you had a result that ended in a team not winning without shooting a shot on goal. I think you have to go back to the mid 2000s in the game that had West Bromwich Albion in. I forgot who they played, Southampton, Sunderland, somebody like that. But I know there was a stat about that somewhere in the past. While this might be considered a Greek tragedy by some, I consider this as funny as the old Benny Hill comics and the Black Adder Monty Python stuff. Like, this to me is hilarious. Like, you don't wish like bad results upon your biggest rival. Oh, no, wait. You do, because if it was the other way around, boy, will we be catching a lot of stray bullets. But all the records going into tomorrow's game, the fact that the last time we won there, which was April the 16th, 2023, which, by the way, the only time that we have won in Dignity Health Sports Park, all these records, us 6-game unbeaten, them not winning a game since December of 2024, all that stuff goes out the window. This isn't going to be a game about tactics. I don't expect to see pretty football. This is going to be a grudge match. Two teams that hate each other, two fan bases that hate each other, two front office and probably owners that hate each other. All gloves are off, and at this, all bets are off. All the gloves are on. At this point, anybody's got a fighter's chance.
Yeah, look, the big questions, right? What will Gabriel Peck and Joseph Painsil be able to give them? They're coming back from injury. They will get some time. I think they'll even start. We'll see. What will Marco Royce be able to give them? He has not looked good, and yet against Philadelphia, he had 2 assists. Maya Yoshida.
Toby Keith did, Scarf.
Yeah, what's that?
Toby Keith did. He ain't as good as he once was, but he was as good once as he ever was.
He definitely did. Maya Yoshida looks awful. Amiro Garces, who was a revelation for them last year, looked awful. Edwin Cerrillo has not been himself. There are just so many guys on that club that are underperforming, and they say it's not the coach. But Philly, last question before we get to our keys to the match, players to watch, and score prediction. It's whether or not LAFC will be able to avoid that one gaffe, that one moment, whether it's a Marlon for some reason putting his hand all the way out to catch a ball in the box, or an Eddie Segura late tackle, or a handball, or something ridiculous. Maybe a dumb foul that leads to a red and we go down a man. For me, it's going to be all about LAFC avoiding the gaffe, and will they be able to make something of it?
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, anything could happen. All the stats, the beautiful football, who's on a high note, who's got a better run of form, who's been lousy. I mean, we all know this already. We're going to go blue in the face, try and express it. None of it matters. Anything can happen tomorrow, whether those gaffes happen, but the same thing could be said on the other side of the equation. Plenty of those gaffes have the opportunity to happen as well. And one of my keys to the game is going to indicate something that needs to happen in order for us to move on that upward trajectory. But either way, the 25th edition of this rivalry, I know there's been a lot of polls that have been going on between the pundits that follow Major League Soccer asking what the best rivalry in MLS is. And I'm still blown away that people think Cascadia is better. I'm blown away that people think the hell is real is better. I mean, that was a pretty good game, 1-1. I'm blown away by the number of games that some people seem to think matter more than Galaxy versus LAFC. None of them matter more. I don't care about history. Like, history is great. It's in the past. Let sleeping dogs lie. Maybe Vancouver, maybe the Cascadia Cup was entertaining back 10 years ago, but this is it. This is the premier. This is the prime time here between these two LA teams that legitimately hate each other, 13 miles from one another. And there's always something wild that happens. Always. These games have never been boring other than the time that we were in the COVID Cup down in Orlando, where LAFC scored 6 against the Galaxy's 2. Diego Rossi had 4. But that wasn't boring for us, maybe for them. But there's always fireworks set to go off, and fireworks will be had tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, a couple things to look for before we get into our players to watch. Aaron Long able to rest in the last match against Seattle. He's had some lower leg issues, is what they're being called. We'll have to see what Aaron Long, right? We'll have to see what Aaron Long will be able to give us. Although LAFC putting pictures of him out on their Instagram and their Twitter, so it looks like they're happy that Aaron Long will be back. I think the biggest question for me will be what starting 3 that we put out there. We have a lot of options, but I don't know.
We need an 11, not 3.
Well, up top.
Come on, you missed the sarcasm.
we know for sure that they're going to pencil in Denis Bouanga. It'll be the other two, right? Is it Jeremy Abobasi or Nathan Ordaz in the middle, or is it Cengiz Under and David Martinez on the outside? I know what I would prefer going into this derby. I can tell you right now, and Philly, I'd be interested to hear your starting three up top. I want it to be Jeremy Abobasi and Cengiz Under alongside Denis Bouanga, and I'll tell you why. Jeremy Abobasi knows how to score in this league better than most nines that we could call on in Major League Soccer right now. He is a grizzled MLS veteran who puts the ball in the back of the net. And I really do think that Cengiz Under gives us more sure things than David Martinez on the outside right now. I think David Martinez is as talented and as fun to watch as any player in Major League Soccer when he is on. But if we get a petulant or a pissed off or a bored or a disengaged David Martinez in the derby, I'm sorry, that's not what I want to see. So I'm going with Denis Bouanga, Jeremy Abobasi, and Cengiz Under. Your thoughts?
There are no thoughts. I'm in complete agreement with you for a number of reasons. The ones that you in particularly stated are the most obvious. I don't want to give that kind of pressure to somebody like a David Martinez, mainly because of how he's acted in the past. You know that the Galaxy's defense is going to get under his skin, and if he loses his cool, that's going to potentially derail our forward attack. I've been kind of thinking of things. So Cengiz Under's loan expires June 30th. Now, he hasn't had a lot of playing time. I had a conversation with Neil McGuinness up in Founders Club during the halftime of the game on Wednesday, and we talked about it. He mentioned the fact that he wasn't playing. And so I'm thinking to myself, Fenerbahce wants an awful lot of money, right, for him. So enough amount of money that LAFC would probably think twice about wanting to buy him out, potentially extending a loan. But what if this is actually a long-term tactic to keep him out of the starting lineup and only to limit his minutes and go back to the executives of Fenerbahce and go, you know what? Like, we like this guy, but he hasn't been able to crack our starting 11. Here's what we're offering for you. Sure. Take it or leave it. So to me, maybe it's an actual tactic because, John Thorrington likes to play chess as opposed to checkers. But in this case, and in particular in the fact that he scored, his second or third goal against Seattle, he has been a part of some pretty darn big games. A little stadium down in Carson is not going to rattle somebody like a Cengiz Under. He needs to start. And Jeremy Abobasi, with the track record that he's had against both LA teams and the fact that he scored that beauty, a good run of form, that has to be the lineup. A veteran lineup up top to take care of business and to absolutely shatter the Galaxy's back line.
Absolutely could not agree more. So let's get into it, Philly. Let's get into our players to watch. And you guys know, I give Philly a hard time because he finds a way to cheat on some of these things. He finds a way to have, 8 keys to the match or 4 players to watch. Well, you know what? I took a page from Philly's book on this one. I'm watching, first and foremost, we got to make sure, and this will be it. I'm going to say this right now out loud, and I don't really mean this, but I think it's kind of funny. We got to make sure once and for all that our number 8 is not a double agent, and I think this match will prove it. We've seen matches before. Let's take Franco Escobar when we last played Houston. He proved he's still one of our own by getting that late red card and saying hello to all the 32-52 on the way by. We've seen plenty of our players who we thought had left us for other clubs just to, when we play them, figure it all out that they're still one of our own. I just want to make sure one last time that Marky Delgado isn't still a double agent for the Herbalife Sash 13 miles down the road. So I'm going to watch Marky Delgado as Philly tells me why I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. But you mentioned the double agent thing. That's kind of funny. If you go to the Galaxy social media page, they brought Marky into Dignity Health Sports Park and awarded him his ring. And as he was going down the players' tunnel to go meet with Greg Vanny, Will Kuntz, and family and friends and whatnot, you could see that he was getting emotional. And he has a photo with the ring on. Why they wouldn't have done that to celebrate him on the pitch? Maybe just maybe your double agent idea isn't too far-fetched.
I'm telling you, it's those mind games, man. I'm telling you, they're trying to mess with us just a little bit. So I've got now, let me back up and say, I think Mark Delgado, along with Igor Jesus, I think they've been the two most important players for this club over the course of our first 13 matches. Oh, by the way, Denis Bouanga's ready. But either way, I think those two have been the most important players. So I'm not throwing any shade on Marky Delgado. I'm just saying, let's get through this one and prove it for the last time. But the two players, I chose two because I think that those two players may total 90 minutes, if that, for Carson. They're both coming back from injury, trying to round themselves into form. And I'll tell you this, when Gabriel Peck, Joseph Paintsel, and Ricky Pooch were on last season, there was no better trio in Major League Soccer, proven by the fact that it was Galaxy that hoisted MLS Cup. I think Gabriel Peck is a special player who is not long for this league. And Joseph Paintsel has one plus attribute, and that is going over the top, getting behind your guy. And we've seen players like Yaya Boa, who we have now, players like Joseph Paintsel in the past. We've seen those players give our back line a little bit of fits on occasion. So I'm watching those two players, and I know what y'all are thinking. Of course, they're two of the most talented players on the pitch, but I don't think combined between the two that they'll even play a full 90 minutes. But I think it's going to be interesting to see, are we up by a goal or two and Greg Vanney puts them in late, or does he start them, get as much as he can out of them, and then try and piecemeal it for the rest of the 90 minutes? So I've got Delgado on one side, and then I'm cheating a little bit, taking a page out of Philly's playbook here and going Peck and Paintsel for the Galaxy.
The PPs.
Yes.
Not the killer peas, the PPs.
But I don't want people to think I'm watching the PPs. That's weird. That's weird.
I mean, that could go a couple of ways in terms of how you interpret that. And I'll just leave it up to the imagination. Andy, our good buddy in the chat, goes, is the ghost of Andre Horta still around?
Oh, I hope
How dare you? How dare you bring up Andre Horta? The only time that we've ever had 3 designated players on our roster at one given time. Actually, I'd have to think about that. But yes, Andre Horta. Andy, I know you might be mad at the fact that my New York Knickerbockers beat your Boston Celtics, but no, we better hope the ghost of Andre Horta isn't around. This is a good question. Let's hang on to that one by Henry Masters. All right, so my players to watch. Let's move forward. I wasn't cheating about things, and I thought about it for a second. I thought Christian Ramirez would be a good one because of the fact that he played at LAFC, because of the fact that he has 40% of the Galaxy's goals this season, meaning 4 in the Galaxy's total of 10, but that still is 40%. But I chose Diego Fagundes for a couple of reasons. He leads the Galaxy in minutes played. He may have 2 goals this season and no assists, but he's appeared in every single game, along with Julian Aude, the only players of the Galaxy to have done that this season. And what a track record, what a resume this kid has overall. 15 years in the league, defenders, and he's 30 right now. And he's a member of the 75-75 list. He's the 8th player in Major League Soccer history to record 75 goals, 7 assists. Really quickly, I'll go through that list. Number 1, Landon Donovan, Jaime Moreno, Dwayne De Rosario, Diego Valeri, Preki, Steve Ralston, and Luciano Acosta. Diego Fagundes is there, and he doesn't have any assists on the season. And he is with a good run of form, courtesy of a goal, an assist by Marco Reus. So to me, he's the key to shutting down the Galaxy. If he has a good game, then we might have our hands full. But he is a scary kind of a player because of what he contributes. And we know he's going to be on the field because he's consistently been on the field. And even at his time in Austin, he gave us some trouble. I think he is the key to the game for the Galaxy. And as far as LAFC is concerned, look, yeah, it's obvious. It's Denis Bouanga. The man is number 1 in Major League Soccer as far as shots are concerned. He's on a scoring streak that's been incredible. I mean, he scored in the last 4 editions of El Trafico. If he does this again tomorrow, he'll be tied with Carlos Vela for goals in 5 straight fixtures against the boys down the 110. And not to mention the fact that, by the way, he's 3 3 goals away from reaching a 50 goal in Major League Soccer milestone. Denny Bouanga likes to chase records. Denny Bouanga is hungry for goals. Denny Bouanga likes to succeed. Denny Bouanga likes the pressure and prime time. Denny Bouanga will score in the game tomorrow. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if he scores, not 1, potentially even 2, we are murdering the opposition. That's my thought.
I absolutely agree. My big question mark going into this is, will Denis be able to finish the chances that we create? I mean, you're looking at a Galaxy club, like we said before. They have a minus 21 goal differential, 9 worse than anybody else in the league. And they've given up 31 goals this season, 6 more than any other club in the league. The opportunities will be there. Will it be a phenomenal performance by J-Mac in goal that keeps Denis off the scoreboard, or will it be Denis who keeps Denis off the scoreboard if he doesn't score? But like you, I absolutely think that Denis Bouanga will be feasting on that back line for Carson. And let's not forget, just a couple of seasons ago, Diego Fagundes had double-digit assists, 12 assists in 2022. The kid is, I say the kid, he's still only 30 years old. Hard to believe. Philly, go back and look at those pictures of him from the New England Revolution when he was 15 years old.
Barely gone through puberty.
It is unbelievable to watch him and to see who he is now. I mean, we're talking about a guy who, when he decides to hang him up in Major League Soccer, will be the most played outfield player of any player to ever play in Major League Soccer. He's really underrated and unbelievable. Look, my keys to the match are simple. Number 1, Marlon, put your damn arms down. Eddie Segura, I don't need a slide tackle from behind in the 18. I don't need a stupid foul in the middle of the park, whether that's Igor Jesus or anybody else out there to pick up a red card. I don't need any of the stupid stuff. Now, the good part about this match for Igor Jesus, for example, is that he doesn't know that it's the 25th edition of the Derby. Igor Jesus is the kind of a kid, and he's played this way all season, who thinks that this is just game number 14 on the MLS schedule. It's going to feel a little bit bigger because he'll be down in Dignity Health Sports Park. And for one of the very few times all season, you'll be able to hear some of the Carson fans because they've figured out by watching us for 8 years how to do it, which is really nice of them. But I don't think the match, I don't think the match will be too big for Igor Jesus. I don't think the match will be too big for Jeremy Abobasi, Denis Bouanga, Cengiz Under. But man, just every now and then, somebody on our back line just does something real stupid that causes us, whether it's to give up a penalty shot or to go down a man or to even have a dangerous set piece from a spot that is super advantageous to the other side. We need to avoid those types of moments in this match. It seems like one of the two sides every year, if you go down to Carson's Twitter and you take a look at everything, they are 100% sure that the referees are going to award a Denis Bouanga penalty kick tomorrow because they feel that that's the thing that always comes back to bite them. Well, I'm looking at you, Eddie Segura. I'm looking at you, Marlon. I'm looking at you, potentially Ryan Hollingshead or Sergi Palencia on the outside. I'm just saying that this is, it's the one thing I'm most concerned about. And the second thing, and I think Philly's going to talk more about how to do it when it gets to his key to the match. We got to make them think. We have to make them start to remember the last 13 matches, because the one thing that we can all agree upon is that you throw out the records, you throw out the stats. It doesn't matter what happened the last 13 matches of the season. This is a bubble. This is El Trafico. This is the battle for Los Angeles. So you throw the records out. But the more you can make Carson believe that they are who we thought they were, then I think we will be fine. And I think Philly has a pretty good way that we can start for them to do that.
Yeah, look, we said throw out the records, but for the record, in case you were wondering, our record all time against them is 9-10-5. Just throwing that out there. So obviously a win would be massive. And we hadn't had a convincing win in Carson, even going back to that win that we had against them in 2023. It's imperative. And I hate being a member of the Department of Redundancy staff. And I did say this last week, but to me, despite the fact that LAFC has a pretty stellar record when scoring first, which I'll tell you about in just a second, to me, it's a matter of attacking the wounded. All right. A wounded animal will be in a corner and fight back. But if you continue to attack and wound that animal, you leave them for dead. You give them any opportunity to find a spark of light, anything, that's going to be a problem for LAFC. If we can score first, take the crowd out, remind them of how bad they're doing this season. And I don't think we're just going to score one on the Galaxy. I think we're going to score two before they get their heads out of their rear ends and make this a game. But if you take the crowd out and you score a couple of times, you do, like you said, remind them of exactly who they are. And that's a team that is terrible this season. They get that first goal. Now we're talking about a crazy back and forth affair between these two teams, an actual El Trafico. But if we get the first goal and the second, which I firmly believe we will, that takes the crowd out of it and kills any kind of hope that this team has. Now, if we're going to go towards records, LAFC's 8-1-1 in 2025 when scoring first. When we concede, we're 0-6-2. So, yeah, if we're going to go follow the records, we need to score first. And by the way, under Steve Cherundolo, here's a fun fact for you. Shout out to the staff at LAFC PR. When LAFC scores the first goal, they're 53-3-5 under Steve Cherundolo. If that's not a key to the game, I don't know what is. Take the crowd out. Make them think like Scarf said, score first, Cobra Kai, strike hard, strike fast, no mercy, sir.
Look, if my memory serves me correctly, last year we were up 2-0 in their building, and got run the heck out of it 4-2 by the end of it. So I'm
different team, though.
I'm all for, no, believe me, I'm all for it, but I think we're going to get the first 3 of the match on this one, because I think 3 is what we need to drive the stake through their heart. I think it will be 3-1 LAFC. They're going to get a late one, and I think it's actually because they do the opposite of what I think Greg Vanney is going to do. I said earlier, I think you should start Joseph Paintsel and start Gabriel Peck. I actually think that maybe after halftime or after the 60th minute, he might bring on those guys tomorrow and maybe get a goal late. But I believe that LAFC will take this 3-1. And you know, I'm saying it right now. I don't like how confident I am going into this, because these are the kind of things that happen to people who are confident. You get reminded by the soccer gods how, for the first 13 doesn't matter. You get reminded by the soccer gods how a minus 21 goal differential doesn't matter. I just, for some reason, the way that we played against Seattle and the way that we've kind of meandered through this 6-match unbeaten streak, 3-0-3, that we are in our last 6, that Seattle match was a big statement. And it was with a rotated roster and a lot of players contributing to the end of the scoreline there. I think that it's going to be more of the same thing, and I think there'll be a little bit of let up at the end, and maybe that'll give Steve something to talk about, something to push them about as we face Club America in 2 weeks. But I'm just saying, I don't like how confident I am, but I think it'll be a 3-1 scoreline, and that was before Philly texted me his scoreline.
Yeah, well, cat's out of the bag. I thought 3-1 as well. Just for the reasons that I do think that they're going to end up getting a late goal in garbage time when the game is already put to rest. I don't have that much confidence in the Galaxy making this a game. But that being said, yes, maybe we are erring on the side of we are a little too confident and proud. And it's not because LAFC has been this team that's just been destroying people. I mean, if you look at the amount of goals that they've had over the course of 13 games historically, I mean, it's pretty good, but it's not the best. 23 goals in 2025. But believe it or not, that was the same amount that we had in 2023 when we made it all the way to the MLS Cup final. And in case you're wondering about the year we made it to the final, we only have 3 less in 13 than we did the year we won the MLS Cup. But I do think we're going to be able to put 3 through John McCarthy if they start him. We're playing a lot better. That Miami game, I think, just completely flipped the switch in a lot of the minds of the players, and obviously it flipped something in Steve because he decided, all right, I'm good. I'm going back to Deutschland. And you know what? Feels differently now around LAFC. The players seem to be a lot more calm. I think they're actually playing to send Steve off on a positive note, and I think a big win against the Galaxy is going to occur. Fluffhead 6-1. If that's the case, I am going to buy you a case. If you get this one right, you got a case of whatever it is your favorite libation is on the scarf.
What?
You like how I just volunteered you there? I was just checking to see if you were paying attention. But either way, yes, we're going to win 3-1, and it's going to be epic. That's going to bring our record against them back to 10-10-5, ever so even. And then when they come into our home, forget it. That's where we wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, look, I've got 3-1. Philly's got 3-1. Fluffhead in the chat with 6-1. Smirty 3-0. DeCoog Cougar says 3-0 as well. Dave Gomez, great minds think alike, 3-1. Lunch special Geo. It'll be a tie 3-3. I don't know. Ruben has 3-2. So many of you guys in the chat giving us some wonderful feedback. I love that Smirty's comment. I love how 6-1 is actually very realistic. It could be. It could be. Look, and for everybody that had trouble with those Club World Cup tickets, I just want to say I had to have it explained to me, but it worked. If you just click the link and log into your Ticketmaster account from the email, you click that LAFC account manager thing, and then you log in, and then you go back and click that button. It worked. It worked for a lot of people that I gave that advice to too. Look, we've got Club America coming in a couple of weeks. We'll talk about that on the next episode of Defenders. We'll obviously talk about all of the Galaxy and LAFC match on the next episode. I'm going to go ahead and bring up my new favorite number 85 in Major League Soccer this season. So that'll be fun. And more importantly, as far as I know, right, Philly, it's going to be you and I back together doing that episode on Monday. And I can't wait.
I was going back through the archives to see when the last time you and I did a One More Sleep from start to finish. Not like a random cameo role, but I think we're going on 2 months. So it's been quite a while. And now I know I told you that I would be all full systems go come mid-May. And, I've been doing my thing. You've been holding down the fort while you've been running around with kids in Atlanta and Montgomery, Alabama. But, I got to confess, I won't be here for a couple of days in June because, Scarf, I can legitimately make this official. Yeah. I'm going to be one of the broadcasters at TST. I am so freaking pumped. I'm calling 19 games over the course of 3 days. And for those who have tuned into the TST, you know that these are quick games, but it's going to be a long one. So you'll be without me for that. But then I'm good to go. We'll be good to go until June the 2nd. We'll be good to go after June the 10th. And let's make Defenders the fun show that we had, that we've always had. And then obviously Chris will still be a big part of this as well. We got Dexter doing graphics. I don't know if you listened to it, but Lafferty's the 12th member of Defenders of the Bank. Did you know that?
12th member.
Yeah, think about it. So me, you, that's the given. We had Nina, we have Amanda. Right. There's Dexter. Schmitty had a card. May he rest in peace.
6. Yeah.
Harry, Huff, and Hagrid.
9.
We had Hello Kitty.
10.
We have Fred. The green guy that I brought in to start the season.
Jesus. Okay.
And then Lafferty.
Fred, huh? We'll go with Fred.
Yeah, dude, I can't find him or Hello Kitty. I have so much crap back there. I had to reconfigure all that so I could have MASL scarves in for that CBS Sports Golasso thing I did. And so I have so much stuff dumped in on that side that y'all don't see. You would swear I was like a pack rat or a hoarder, which I'm really not. I just haven't had the time to do it. And somewhere in this pile of clothing and hats and baseball cards is one Fred and Hello Kitty. I just got to dig them up.
It's a real shame you can't find them. Fluffhead, please give your daughter a very happy birthday from both Philly and the Scarf. Look, Laugh does not get the same billing as a stuffed animal, says Cougar. All right, y'all. Look, it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow, but I say this as we end every El Trafico One More Sleep. The whole point of tomorrow is that after everything happens on the pitch, that we are all able to get home and celebrate or commiserate with our families and friends after it. Nothing that you do in the stands will affect a game, a point, a goal, or a player on this club. Yes, we defend the crest, we represent our crest, and all of those things are important. But what is far more important is getting home to your friends, family, and loved ones so that the next time we go out and beat Carson, whether it's 3-1, whether it's 6-1, or whatever the scoreline is, we get to all do it together. So please, when you're out there in Carson tomorrow, be smart and be safe. Everybody wants to go home at the end of this, guys. That's the bottom line.
I completely agree. Joseph Zacher on the Heart of LAFC just a couple of days ago was talking about how winning on the pitch actually matters more than winning in the stands. And that's true, because if it's not what's happening on the pitch, there's nothing in the stands. So it's all about the teams winning. So it's really them that are doing the battling. We don't need to do the battle. And sure, there are morons everywhere, and morons are going to try to start because they have nothing better to do and nothing to lose, right? We all have stuff to lose here. We got families, we got bills, we got all kinds of stuff. So, and I say this just as much to myself as I say it to everybody else. Don't let any of those morons down there get into your head. Don't let them, because they've already won if they sparked any kind of reaction out of you. If you don't care, wipe the dust off your shoulder. It's all good, because the thing that's going to happen tomorrow, and I know we're a family-friendly podcast, but Scarf, I want to talk to you about that once we're done. Tomorrow, we're going to go in and whoop that ass. And that's what's going to happen. We are going to whoop that ass, but not us in the stands whooping anybody else's ass in the stands. It's our team, our beloved team, whooping the poop out of the team that we do not like down the 110. It'll be glorious. But keep your cool, keep your calm, keep your wits. And we'll have something fun to chat about on Monday.
Yeah, it's your wife, by the way, wants you to know that you're a hoarder, by the way.
I'm not a hoarder. I'm just a collector of sports memorabilia.
All right, y'all. We've both got 3-1. If anybody sees me tomorrow down in Carson, come say hi, please. Come hang out. Philly, what are your plans for the game?
I haven't figured it out yet. So this is my first full weekend off since August. And so I think I'm going to wake up in the morning. I think I'm going to go to boxing class. I went to kickboxing today. I haven't been to a kickboxing morning class in a year. I think I'm going to play it. We'll see what happens. I always end up, and you know this, I always end up getting a ticket to the game, whether I end up procuring one or whether somebody just invites me and gives me one. I somehow find my way into Dignity Health Sports Park. But I don't want to say I'll be there for sure, because I got a couple of big weeks coming up, and I don't have any breaks between now and then after this Sunday. So I might just kind of want to chill. I don't know. But if you see me there, don't be surprised.
There you go. All right, y'all. Be safe. And you guys know how we like to end each one of those things here. We'll see y'all on the flip side on Monday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.